All right. You all may be seated. Sure, you may resume your examination of this guy.
Come over here. I want you to stand right here. Okay? Now, we're going to pretend the door is in this area, okay? Kind of facing this way. I want you first to put this equipment on your arm like you were when you were carrying it down the hallway and you came to the door. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Oh, so I want you to position the equipment on your body the way you had it when you were walking down the hallway and came to the door.
Can you bend the microphone in your direction, Mr. Shook? Thank you.
Around here. I'm going to caution you to keep your voice up, okay? All right. First, Judge, I want to offer two exhibits, Defense 77, 78, which are still photos from the state's video 51.
No objection.
They're both admitted.
Amber, as you came up to the to your door, I want to, and your door will be right here. I want you to show the jury how you took your fob out and went to put it into the keyhole.
No objection. I can't hear.
You're going to have to keep your voice up.
I always keep my keys in my front right pocket. When I was approaching the door, I would grab out my keys and walk up to the door where I know where the lock is at and insert the key fob into the lock.
And is that what you started to do on that time?
Yes, sir.
Okay. As you inserted the key, or started to insert the key into the lock, did you see anything wrong with the door?
I saw it was cracked open.
Okay, keep your voice up.
It was cracked open.
Okay. And that's as you're putting the key in?
Yes, sir.
And when you say cracked open, you see the exhibit on the monitor. Okay, you remember that video when they showed how the door didn't close? Now this is from the inside. Were you viewing the same type of situation with the door from the outside?
Yes, I was.
Okay. As the key goes into the keyhole, that's when you saw the door?
Judge, I'm going to object to deleting again.
Sustained.
Did you see anything else or notice anything else at that point in time?
I heard moving around inside my apartment.
What type of moving around?
Like loud shuffling, someone walking.
Okay. What happened when the key actually went into the keyhole?
It forced the door open.
Normally, you have to unlock it and turn it over.
Yes, you did.
Judge, again, I'm going to object to deleting.
Judge, I'm just trying to reorient from prior testimony so we can get through this.
But you cannot leave, Mr. Shook.
Okay. What do you do normally?
When I come home, I just put the key into the keyhole, and then I turn it to the left, and then I unlock or use the door handle and turn it down and push open the door.
And what happened this time?
What happened was I put the key into the lock. I see that it's cracked open, and at the same time, I'm hearing this moving around. But me putting the key fob into the lock is pushing the door open, and everything's happening all at once.
Okay, let me ask you that. We're breaking this down, but how fast can you tell the jury this is happening?
Less than 2 seconds. The motions of me doing all this is less than 2 seconds.
Tell the jury what you felt inside and what you felt in your brain when you saw those three things happen.
I was scared to death.
How quickly did that happen?
Less than 2 seconds. It was quick.
Okay. Why were you scared?
I thought I came home and they're inside my apartment. And that was alerted me on this. Your heart rate just skyrocketed. This feeling you never want to feel again.
Your Honor, if the demonstration is over with, I mentioned this. Can we go
It's
back?
not over, Judge. I'll sit down when it's over.
Okay, let's go through the demonstration and we can do the discussions later.
Can I
Yes,
refrain from being interrupted?
well, if
Could you
he
instruct
feels
him?
the need to object, he
I
has the
understand.
right to object.
All
Your
right.
next question, Mr. Shook.
Now, as you were telling the jury what you were feeling. I think you were saying something about what you were feeling in your chest.
I compare it to being into a car wreck. Right before you hit that car, you literally just, everything freezes up inside your body. You don't know what's going to happen next. It's just fear, pure fear inside of you.
Was there a light on inside your apartment?
No,
Or what you believe was your apartment?
no, there was not.
As that door began to open, what were you looking for? What was going through your mind?
My cat, since I knew somebody was moving around inside my apartment, I wanted just to find that threat.
Okay. What were you feeling with that
Fear,
door?
scared as crap.
Okay. As the door opened, did you see anything in your apartment?
Yes, I did. That's whenever, directly in the middle towards the window is when I saw this silhouette figure standing back there. I'm sorry.
I can't hear you, silence.
Repeat that again, please, in a louder voice.
Whenever I fully opened the door, I saw this silhouette figure standing in the back middle apartment by the window.
You're saying figure?
Yes.
Okay. As you were open, and how did the door get fully open?
I used my left arm to fully open it. And at that time, that's whenever I'm drawing my service weapon out.
All at the same time?
Yes, sir.
Okay. When you saw that figure, or silhouette of a figure at the back, did you do anything?
Yes. That's whenever I pulled my gun out and I yelled at him. It's like, let me see your hands, let me see your hands.
What was the figure doing?
Him moving around.
Okay. Did that cause you some concern?
Yes.
Why is that?
I couldn't see his hands.
How fast does this happen?
Real fast. It's seconds.
Okay. Are you still holding your equipment?
Yes, I am.
How's the door staying open?
I'm using my equipment to prop it open because those doors are heavy.
Okay. What did the figure do after you said, let me see your hands?
He started coming towards me.
Okay. How fast was he coming towards you?
A fast-paced walk.
Wasn't running?
Wasn't running.
All right. When you saw him coming towards you, what was going through your mind?
I thought that he was coming at me. Since I couldn't see his hands, he was going to kill me.
Did you hear anything as he was walking towards you?
There was a loud yell. He was yelling, hey, 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 in an aggressive voice.
Okay. I'll let you put this down. Now, first I want to put you over here. You said you saw this figure against the wall and he was moving around.
Yes.
Can you just demonstrate for us the manner in which you saw the figure moving
He
around?
was just moving around, just pacing back and forth.
Okay. And that's what you saw when you opened the door?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And then you described what the commands you told him?
Yes.
Okay. I want you to imagine that you're at, where exactly were you inside the apartment?
I was at the doorway. I remembered feeling that silver bottom thing on my feet.
Okay. So you're at that area, this is the doorway. And we talked about this before, haven't we?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, this general area in here, do you feel that's the area as close as this figure got towards you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you know the length of your apartment from the front door to that back where the figure was is how far?
30 feet.
Okay. And I showed you a mark of this about right here.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now I want you to first tell the jury exactly how loud you said, let me see your hands.
I said, let me see your hands, let me see your hands.
You had the gun pointed.
Yes, sir.
And the figure was moving around as you described?
Yes, I have my gun pointed, and I'm saying, let me see your hands, let me see your hands.
What were you focused on?
Him.
Just him?
Yes.
And then he began coming towards you?
Yes.
And as he became coming toward you, that's when you heard him speak?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to do that now, all right?
Yes, sir.
Hey! Hey! Hey!
And that's at that point whenever I shot.
Somewhere in this area.
Yes, sir.
When you shot, what happened?
He fell down.
Okay. Go ahead and take a seat. And why did you shoot Andrew?
I was scared he was going to kill me.
We talked about that. You've broken that down. Did it take that long, is what you walked through?
No, sir. It was much quicker than that.
After when you saw the figure, could you tell man, woman, anything like that?
In the back of the room, no, you could not see who it was.
All right. After you fired those shots, what's the next thing that you did?
I walked fully inside the apartment. I still had my gun outside since I didn't even, at that point, I didn't know if he was armed. It wasn't to that point when I got to the counter area when everything started realizing that this wasn't my apartment.
What did you start noticing?
I started noticing the ottoman in the middle of the floor.
Okay. Now, could you see any lights in the apartment at this time?
I finally saw that there was the TV light was on.
Is that the first time you noticed that?
Yes, it was.
Prior to that, where had your complete attention been?
On the threat, on the person that I thought was inside my apartment.
As you saw the ottoman and you moved closer to this person laying on the ground, what's the next thing you saw or felt?
What do you mean?
As you're getting closer, what was going through your mind?
As I was getting close, that's when it started hitting me that this guy, I have no idea who he is. And that's when everything it started to spin. I was confused, and that's when I dialed 911.
Okay. Where were you when you started to dial 911?
I was kneeling down next to him.
Okay. Did you know what had happened or starting to process what happened when you knelt down next to him?
Yes, I started. I knew I had shot him. I wasn't sure where he was hit on his body. I started doing some compressions with my left hand.
What were you doing with your right hand?
I was on the phone with 911.
Is that when we first hear the 911 when the operator picks up?
Yes, sir.
You were trying to do a compression with your left hand.
Yes.
Had you ever done CPR before?
No, I have not.
Did you do that very long?
No, I did not.
What caused you to stop? What caused you to stop doing CPR when you were on 911?
Dispatcher asked me where I was at. I had no idea where I was at. I had to get up and go outside and look at what apartment number I was.
And that's what we hear on the 911 tape when you finally find the number?
Yes, sir.
How did you do that?
I stepped outside and just looked up, and that's when I saw I was in 1478.
And did you tell the operator that at that time?
Yes.
And then what did you do next?
I went back to Mr. John.
Okay. Do you remember turning on the light?
No, I have no idea what part. I had so many thoughts racing through my head. I turned on the light. I have no idea when I turned that light on.
Did that happen after the shooting?
Yes, it did.
Do you know that for a fact?
Yes, I do.
As you went back in, where did you go next?
I went to sit by Mr. John.
Okay. Did you start trying to do a compression at all after that?
I started to do a sternum rub on him.
Okay. What's a sternum rub?
I've seen a lot of paramedics do a sternum rub. A sternum rub is usually you use like your fist and you rub the sternum of someone's chest. usually that wakes up a lot of people who are unconscious, and it hurts.
Okay. Why did you want to do that?
I wanted him to keep breathing. There wasn't, the state he was in, I knew it wasn't good. It wasn't good.
Was he conscious at all? Could you tell?
And he was a little conscious.
Okay. We hear things from time to time on the 911 of stay with me, bud, things like that. What are you doing when we hear those things? Do you know?
I'm doing the sternum rub on him. I'm rubbing his chest, just trying to keep him there.
I want to play that 911 tape for you again, and then I'll have some questions for you, okay?
Yes, sir.
What is this car number? Is your emergency?
Hi, this is Officer the Officer. Can I get my name there? I'm in number.
Do you need police and more or just EMS?
Yes, I need both.
Okay, what's the address?
I'm at apartment number 1478. I'm in 1478.
And what's the address there?
It's 1210 South Lamar. 1478. Yes.
What's going on?
I'm an off-duty officer. I thought it was in my apartment, and I shot a guy thinking that he was thinking it was my apartment. He shot someone. Yes, I thought it was my apartment. I'm fucked. Oh my god. I'm sorry.
Okay, and where are you at right now?
I'm in. What do you mean? I'm inside the apartment with him. Hey, come on.
What's your name?
I'm Amber Guyger. I need to get me. I'm in.
Okay, we have help on the way.
I know, but I'm with my dog. I thought it was my apartment.
Okay.
Hey, Dad.
Hold on.
Fuck.
Okay, stay with me, okay?
I'm going to need supervisor. Hey, bud. Hey, bud. Hey, bud. I thought it was my apartment.
I guess that's we don't help
I
on the
thought it was
way.
my apartment.
Come on.
Hurry, please.
We're on our way.
I thought it was my apartment. I thought it was my apartment. I could have sworn apartment on the third floor.
Okay, just fine.
No. It was my apartment. It was my apartment. It was my apartment. I thought it was my apartment.
And then what's the gate code there?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I thought it was my apartment.
They're trying to get in there. We have an officer there. You don't know the gate code?
No. I thought it was my apartment. I thought it was my apartment.
Okay, and what floor are you in right now?
The fourth floor. Fourth. Hey, bud, they're coming, bud. I'm sorry, man.
Okay, where was he shot?
He's on the top left.
Okay, you were Dallas PD, right?
Yes. Oh my god, I'm just. I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to. I'm so sorry. Hey, bud.
They're trying to get there to you, okay?
I know. Is it okay, bud?
already there. They're coming to get to you.
I thought it was my apartment. I thought it was my apartment. Holy fuck. I thought it was my apartment. Oh my god. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Oh my goodness, they're coming to get to you. Do you hear them? Do you hear them?
No, no. How the fuck did I put that? How did I? Over here.
Okay, go ahead and talk to me.
No, it's me. I'm off duty. I thought they were in my apartment. I thought this was my floor.
Amber, do you remember everything that you said on that 911 call?
No, I didn't.
What was going through your mind when you were talking to the operator?
I just wanted someone there with me.
What was going through your mind with Papa John laying there next to you?
That I shot an innocent man he didn't deserve. I was in my apartment.
When you fired that shot, where did you think you were?
Inside my apartment.
We heard at the end of that tape, officers arriving. How did you know they were there?
I could hear their radio echoes, or you can hear echoes throughout the hall, and I just wanted them to know where I was at.
Those officers came in and had you leave the apartment soon after.
Yes, they did. They told me to get out.
And officers, Valentine told you to leave, eventually leave here, recall that?
Yes, she did.
We know that you sent a couple of texts towards the end of that call, 3 minutes, 25 seconds to Martin Rivera.
I did.
Tell the jury why you sent those texts.
I was by myself with someone I had just shot. I didn't have the help of another partner to help me with the CPR on him. I was alone with him, and that's the scariest thing you can ever imagine. I just wanted help. I wanted someone there, and he was the first one, my partner I trusted, that I could know he could be there for me.
After you left the apartment, officers arrived. Did you cooperate with the investigation?
Yes, I did what I was told to do.
Did you gave blood?
Yes, I did.
Your uniform?
Yes, I did.
The next day, you speak with Ranger Armstrong.
Judge, I object. This question violates the motion in limine and this court's very clear instructions.
Sustain.
Can we approach the bench, Your Honor?
Yes. The objection is sustained. Let's move on, Mr. Sherman.
Amber, let's talk for a minute about when you were in that apartment facing what you believe to be a threat. You've heard testimony in the trial about using other types of force, turning on lights, treating, anything like that. Did any of that enter your mind at all?
No, it did not.
What was your focus?
Focus was on him. I just wanted help there. I wanted someone there fast.
You loved your job as a police officer.
I did.
What did you love about it?
Judge, I object to relevance.
Sustained.
Amber, when you pulled your weapon at night and you fired, why did you fire?
So I was scared. I was scared this person's apartment was going to hurt me. And I'm so sorry.
I can't understand.
I'm sorry.
Ms. Guyger, could you please repeat your answer?
I was scared. Whoever was inside my apartment was going to kill me. And I'm sorry. I have to live with that every single day that I hurt.
Judge, I object to non-responsive.
Sustained.
Now that you know, you found out when you came around that counter and shot an innocent man. How do you feel about that?
No police officer ever would want to hurt an innocent person.
Again, I'm sorry. I can't understand.
Ms. Guyger, let's take a second to collect yourself before you speak.
I'm sorry. Sorry.
Ready?
Please. Please.
How do you feel what you did to Mr. John?
I feel like a terrible person. I feel like a piece of crap. I hate that I have to live with this every single day of my life. And I ask God for forgiveness, and I hate myself every single day. I feel like I don't deserve a chance to be with my family and friends. I wish he was the one with the gun that killed me. I never wanted to take an innocent person's life. And I am so sorry. This is not about hate. It's about being scared that night.
Non-responsive.
Sustained. Mr. Shook, you want to ask your next question?
Oh, in your bags, the package you had, there was various bandages, things like that. Do you recall that?
I knew they put them in there a while ago.
Did you ever think about even using those during this incident?
No. I was panicked. I was panicking.
You sent some text to Martin Rivera.
Yes, I did.
Did you delete those texts?
I did.
Did that happen that night? The next day? When did that happen?
It happened very... I deleted them. I was ashamed I was in a relationship. I was in a relationship with him. It's embarrassing.
Had you deleted his text before?
Yes, I have.
Is that your normal routine?
Yes, it was.
I'll pass the whistle to your hands.
I'm just going on in the arms.
Yes.
All right. Now proceed, Your Honor.
Yes, please.
Good morning, Ms. Guyger.
Good morning.
I'm going to ask you several questions today concerning the events of September the 6th, and in particular your testimony that Mr. Shook and you just covered, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, so at the very end, I'm probably going to go backwards. I'm going to start where you guys ended, and I'm going to move backwards. So one of the things that you obviously wanted to communicate to the jury is just about how bad you feel about what you did to Mr. Jean. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, on the actual day, on September the 6th, 2018, you were captured a lot on body cam. Isn't that correct?
Yes, sir. It's
And
true.
in-car video. Isn't that right?
Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, may I publish the remainder of State's Exhibit number 10 at this time?
Yes.
So the representation that you've made today, crying very heavily about all the stuff that you did to Mr. John and how awful that made you feel. Did you feel that at the time on September 6th? Did you feel that kind of sympathy for him as well?
Yes, I was.
I'm going to move back. Do you remember this in-car video?
This is Sergeant Valentine's.
Right, Sergeant Valentine's video as she's about to move the car towards you while you're standing underneath the carport. You're aware that these particular in-car videos capture two perspectives, right? You have the perspective from the car looking at right now. So yes?
Yes, sir.
You also have the perspective from inside the car so that you can see the individual inside the car that might later be used as evidence, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, after pulling up on the scene here, stopping at 22:16:19, you got a bunch of your friends around there, isn't that right?
Yes, sir.
Those people aren't involved in the police investigation, are they?
No, sir.
Those are your friends that have come there, right?
Yes, sir.
You remember you were talking about how alone you felt out there at the scene?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I think you even told the jury you being allowed out there with him, alone with him, was the scariest thing you can imagine because you couldn't find a partner or anything. Remember saying that to the jury?
When I was inside the apartment, I was
Yes,
alone.
Exactly. That's the scariest thing you can imagine, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, can you imagine Mr. Jean's perspective, an intruder barging into his apartment, somebody on the other side of that door being you, going in with the purpose of finding the threat and taking care of it, and then having been shot and fallen and being alone in that apartment? Can't you imagine that being a little bit scarier than you just being alone at the moment?
Yes, sir, I can.
So that would probably be the scariest thing you can imagine.
It's how I felt at the time.
I understand how you felt, but you've told the jury because, see, Ms. Guyger, you are very concerned about how you feel, right?
No,
Can you imagine what that man felt?
that's what hurts. And
So let's look at this video, State's Exhibit number 10. That's all your friends that have come there for your comfort, right?
I didn't ask them to come.
That doesn't matter to me. They're there for your comfort and you're taking advantage of it.
No, sir.
All right. I'm going to play this. And that's Sergeant Valentine coming to get you away from your friends and take you to the car, isn't that right?
Yes, sir.
Because you should be taken away from everybody, isn't that right? You should be in that car.
Yes, sir.
All right, I'm going to change it now so we can see you inside the vehicle, all right?
You want to keep it rolling? Yeah, keep it rolling. Okay. Whatever you can go.
All right, so that's you talking, right?
Yes, sir.
You're not crying like you are today. You're asking her, should I keep this thing rolling? What are you talking about?
It's a in-car video.
Right. So you're talking normally, and you say, should I keep this thing rolling?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and Sergeant Valentine tells you, yeah, keep it rolling, but just don't say anything, right?
Yes, she does.
Okay. What are you doing inside the car right now, Miss Guyger?
I have my phone.
What are you doing on your phone, Miss Guyger?
I don't remember exactly what I was doing at that moment.
Then you get out of the car, you go back over to your friends, don't you?
I don't remember where I go to.
Did you see that, Miss Guyger?
No, I did not.
What happened just outside your window? Can we play it again?
Yes, please.
I want you to look out the window of the car door when you get back in and shut the door. I mean, there is a reason why you went back into the car, isn't there?
I don't know.
Okay, look what's happening just to the left, outside that window as you get in and shut the door. Does that refresh your recollection of what was happening just outside your door?
No.
That's them carrying the dying body of both of Jean right past the car. Isn't that the truth?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And what made you get in the car was them bringing the body down and walking right past you. Isn't that right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Then I'm going to watch it one more time. Mr. Jean is lying on a stretcher being carried by paramedics, right?
Yes, sir.
You can see what you've done. The second he's passing, what do you go do again?
I looked at my phone because I didn't want to see his body.
Looks like you're trying to text somebody again, right?
I looked down at my phone and don't know what I was doing. It's hard.
Do you see your thumbs moving like you're scrolling
Yes, I do.
around?
I don't know what I'm looking at.
Thank you, Ron. You also said, Ms. Guyger, that a day or so after this particular event, Your Honor, I now approach the bench just to make sure I'm on that. Exhibits that at least ask her concerning the relationship after the 6th.
Yes.
Okay. So, Ms. Guyger, you also expressed to the jury that one of the reasons why you deleted all those texts and put them from that particular evening was because you felt ashamed about your relationship with Martin Rivera. Isn't that right?
Yes, sir.
But starting on September the 8th again, even though with all the texts that you deleted before that, on September the 8th, you're again sending flirtatious messages with him, sexually oriented messages back and forth with Martin Rivera again, and y'all are talking about getting drunk. Isn't that right?
Yes, sir.
So, I mean, how long does this remorse on your part of this feeling about that what you've been doing is wrong, how long did that last? A day or two?
It's lasted every day.
So as this family is thinking about having to bury their son and their brother, 2 days after the event, you are already going back to talking about getting drunk and doing sexual things with Martin Rivera.
Yes, I did.
Okay, let's talk about your 911 call that Mr. Shook played again for the jury. That was about a 5-minute conversation, isn't that right?
Yes, sir.
And in that conversation, you made it very clear to the 911 call taker why you shot Mr. Jean.
Yes, sir.
You said, I shot a man thinking he was in my apartment.
I did say that.
You said that, right?
Yes, sir, I did say
Okay.
that.
And then you, for 19, 20, or 21 times over the period of 5 minutes, you kept on repeating, I thought it was my apartment. I thought it was my apartment. So you had the time and the inclination and the desire to express to the call taker exactly why you shot both Jean, didn't you?
It wasn't, I couldn't even express everything I was feeling.
What you didn't say to the call taker not one single time was that he was coming at me. You didn't say that, did you?
I didn't say it, but
You
I
didn't
know
say-
he did.
Ms. Guyger, I'm just going to ask you to answer my questions, okay?
Yes, sir.
You didn't say one time.
She was trying to answer this question.
Your Honor, my question. I'm sorry.
Is there an objection?
Yes, Judge, could you instruct the prosecutor to wait for the witness to answer the question before you interrupt?
Your Honor,
Allow her to answer the question.
I will, Your Honor. I asked her whether or not she made that comment. She indicated no, she didn't. And then she went on into a narrative, Your Honor. You didn't express one time that you shot him because he was coming at you.
I did not on the phone.
You did, sorry?
I did not over the phone.
You did not express one time that he was armed.
I did not.
You didn't say one time that he put you in fear.
I did not.
Also, when officers Blair and Lee arrived and came in, you met them in the hallway.
Yes, I could. Yes, I did.
You also told them that you shot a person thinking that this person was in your apartment.
I did tell him that.
You didn't say one time, I thought he was armed, did you?
I did not.
You didn't say one time he was coming at me, did you?
I did not.
And he was still alive, wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
And if you really truly in your heart of hearts believed that he had a weapon or that he was really a threat, you would have told them, listen, I haven't patted him down, I haven't searched him, and I think he might have a weapon. That's what you do for a fellow officer, wouldn't you?
I couldn't. What I felt at that time is what I felt. May have.
If you thought that there was a weapon, you would have told the other Dallas police officers coming up on scene to be cautious, wouldn't you have?
Not at that moment.
All right, so you didn't say one thing to them
No.
about any kind of threat that Mr. Jean posed to you at all.
Not at that moment.
All right, you also indicated that you've never done CPR before.
No, I have not.
But you were trained to do CPR in the academy, were you not?
We were trained. I've never done it on an actual person.
All right, so at least then to the extent that you weren't suggesting that you didn't know how to properly perform CPR.
They taught us briefly in the academy.
You knew how to perform CPR properly, right?
I never done it on a person. I couldn't say
Ms. Guyger, were you trained to do CPR properly?
Yes, we were.
Okay, were you at those classes?
Yes, I
Were
was.
you paying attention during those classes?
Yes, I was.
Did you properly perform CPR on Mr. Jean?
No, I did not.
And you could have, right?
I tried to do a little CPR
Why would you try and do a little CPR on a man who's dying who needs your full attention?
because I had to keep getting up to see where I was at.
That was more important than giving life-saving help to this man.
I had no idea where I was at.
You were able to tell the 911 call taker very, very soon on that you were in apartment 1478. After that moment, why couldn't you have given him full, undivided, and proper attention?
I was still on the phone with...
You can put the phone on speakerphone, ma'am.
I had so much stuff racing through my head.
Oh, obviously, you were also able, at least on 2 occasions, to... You must have stopped completely giving him CPR when you sent a message to Martin Rivera saying, I need you to hurry, right?
I did text him that.
Okay, and so you must have at that point stopped CPR entirely.
Yes, I did.
And then, not even a minute later, you must have stopped CPR entirely again to send a second message to Martin Rivera.
I was already out in the hallway.
Oh, so you had already left him.
That's whenever they told me to leave, the officers.
So that's, no, ma'am, I'm talking about at 10:03 p.m. Mr. Lee, Officer Lee and Officer Blair didn't arrive until almost 10:05.
Yes, I do remember that. Like, whenever they showed me, I sent those text messages.
At 10:03 p.m. and at 10:02 p.m., you sent text messages to Martin Rivera.
Yes, I did.
Text messages that would have required you to have put the phone in a place where you can see it, and you used your fingers to write out the words, "I need you, hurry, ... right?
I don't remember how many hands I used.
But you texted Mr. Rivera using your hands,
Yes, I did.
and as you were doing that, you were unable to give Mr. Jean your full attention, the attention that he deserved.
Yes, I did.
And then you made the choice to do that a second time, isn't that true?
Yes, sir.
All right, so at both of those times, you put your needs and your wants over his.
I still cared about him.
Did you put your needs and your wants over him when you decided to do that?
No, sir.
All right. And then you went out into the hall. You left him alone.
When I heard the officers coming, I stepped outside.
So you decided to do something other than continue to give Mr. Jean life-saving measures.
I wanted somebody there fast to get him
You're
help.
not answering my questions, are you?
Yes, sir, I am.
When you went out into the hall, you did that because that was what you chose to do, even though you knew you should be giving that man life-saving treatment.
Yes, sir.
You didn't know that he was going to die. I mean, you knew he was in really bad shape, right?
Yes.
You didn't know at that moment in time that you'd actually shot him and severed his ventricle from his heart. You didn't know that, right?
No, I did not.
In those moments, you know as a trained officer just how critical it is to make sure that you give life-saving treatment as fast and as proper as possible so you can maximize their ability to survive. You know that.
Yes, sir.
And yet, despite knowing that repeatedly, you made choices and decisions that suited you more than him.
No, sir.
You also indicated that you had done CPR, but yet there's no blood anywhere on your uniform or on your shoes.
There is not.
Okay. The next thing I want to talk about is you and Mr. Shook kind of recreated from your recollection what you were able to see inside apartment 1478, especially with respect to the movement of Mr. Jean. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and I'm going to see if I can recreate this. So you said this was about 30 feet away, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and you said that you saw Mr. Jean doing some sort of a pacing thing, right?
Yes, he was moving back and forth.
Okay, how many seconds did this last?
Very few.
2, 3, 4, 5?
I couldn't give you an exact number.
Okay, well, I want something a little bit as best you can give me.
Maybe 2 or 3 seconds.
Okay, 2 or 3 seconds. You're standing there at the door. The door is fully open, right?
Yes, sir.
The hallway that you're standing in with the door fully open, there's bright lights out in that hallway, isn't there?
It's lidded.
It's bright as heck, isn't that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And those lights were coming into Mr. Jean's apartment, which allowed you to see him doing this, right?
I could see from it was just lit, so you could still see his movements a little bit from, I guess.
I'm asking you a very simple question. From where you were standing in the doorway, you've indicated to Mr. Shook that you were able to see him standing at the back doing this, and you've indicated that was for about 2 or 3 seconds. Is that your testimony or not?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So you were able to see into the furthest reaches of his apartment from the door, and you were able to actually see him doing a very distinct motion.
He was moving.
Okay. And so then you said you saw him walking.
Yes.
Or coming towards you.
Yes.
Okay. And then you said that at about here, from here to where you were at the door, that's when you decided to shoot twice.
Yes, sir.
Okay. That's called a double tap, right?
Yes, sir.
Is that what you were intending?
Yes, sir.
That's your training, isn't it?
It's what we're trained to do.
It's training. Double tap maximizes the lethality of your shooting, doesn't it?
Yes, sir.
I mean, it's better than one shot to the heart.
I just did what I was trained to do.
Because you resort to training, right?
Yes, I do.
You rely on your training.
Yes, sir.
It aids you.
Yes, sir.
And in crisis, you resort to your training.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we're going to come back to that. So you indicated to Mr. Shook that Mr. Jean was standing about here, you're in the door when you shot him twice. You shot him twice.
Yes, sir.
So is that going to be right there in the main hallway of that apartment, like when you open up the door? let me just reorient this. So this is the door to apartment 1478, right?
Yes, sir.
You with me?
Yes.
It opens to the left, just like this, right?
Yes.
All right, so you're saying that you're standing inside, somewhere here around the door, and you see him coming from the very back, coming right at you.
Yes, I did.
Okay, so it's going to be in that main corridor, like if you compare it to your apartment, where your little baker's rack and your clock is, that main hallway, right?
Yes. Explain it again, please.
Okay, so are you talking about the main pathway in that particular apartment, where from the door you can see all the way back to the end of 1478?
Yes.
Okay, so it's in that main pathway.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That we approach.
Sure. So you've indicated this was where Mr. Jean was standing then, and the front door where you were standing was right in front.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and that's when you shot him twice.
Yes, sir.
And when Mr. Shook came walking up, this was the position he was standing in when you confirmed that that's when you shot him.
He came at me saying he was standing in that position, yes.
That's true. And I did not mention that. I thank you for clarifying that. One of the things that happened in the walk from 30 feet up to here was that Mr. Jean said, hey, hey, right?
Yes.
Something like that.
Yes, sir.
You don't fault him for that, do you?
Not now.
No, it's his apartment.
I know that now.
Yeah. And so when you shot him, you indicated with Mr. Shook, Mr. Shook was standing right here, and that's where you shot him twice, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, and this was the position Mr. Shook was standing, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can you give us then some sort of an explanation that would satisfy the jury how then you have a bullet hole that's over in the rightmost corner of the apartment over there if this is where he's standing?
That I cannot explain. I'm not an expert
It
in
just is
that.
physically impossible, isn't it?
I don't know that for sure.
Okay. Can you explain to me, you saw the medical examiner, right? You saw his testimony about the path of the bullet?
I did.
All right, so that would have indicated, stand up again. Watch your step, please. Take a normal shooting position. You have a one-handed shooting position, correct? All right. Mr. Jean is a good 4 inches taller than me. In order for that bullet to have gone into him at that angle, he must have been bent over something like this, right?
I don't know what he was.
If you saw the trajectory that the medical examiner testified to, do you have any reason to think that the medical examiner is lying?
I don't.
But so your testimony is that he was standing straight up, looking you in the eye, or looking right at you when you shot him in the chest.
Yes, sir, when I saw him. It's the last thing I saw.
So you were looking that man right in the eye when you shot him in the heart?
I wouldn't say his eye. I was looking at the person that was standing in front of me.
Okay, you're trained. Not only did you do a double tap, again relying on your training, but you shot him exactly where you as a police officer are trained to aim, didn't you?
Yes, that's where we're trained.
Were you trained to shoot a human being?
Rephrase that?
Where are you trained to shoot a human being?
In the center mass.
That's right. And you're trained repeatedly when you qualify to shoot at an individual center mass if you wish to stop them.
Yes, sir.
All right. And you know what a bullet is, don't you?
I do.
So you knew when you were shooting that gun that you were using deadly force against Mr. Jean.
Yes, it was a threat at the time.
Ma'am, will you answer my questions, please?
Yes, sir.
When you shot at Mr. Jean, you knew you were using deadly force against him.
Yes.
You know what a bullet can do, don't you?
Yes, I do.
And when you shot at him twice, you intended to kill him.
Yes, sir.
All right. So all this stuff about it being a sad mistake, at the moment in time when rubber meets the road, when you pulled that trigger, you intended to kill Mr. Jean.
He was the threat. Yes, sir.
Will you answer my question? When you aimed and pulled the trigger at Mr. Jean, shooting him in center mass exactly where you are trained, you intended to kill Mr. Jean.
I did.
You indicated to Mr. Shook that you gave loud verbal commands, and I hope I wrote it down right. Let me see your hands. Is that right?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And in court today, you've been somewhat soft-spoken But I know as a police officer, you have an outside voice, don't you?
I do.
All right. So when you say and you give loud verbal commands, your loud verbal commands weren't like you told this jury today, were they?
They were loud. I told him to let me see your hands, let me see your hands.
Okay. Why don't you really tell them how a police officer gives loud verbal commands when they really want compliance?
Judge, you object to relevance as to how a real police officer knows it. You said a real police officer?
I can rephrase if you want.
Please rephrase.
As a police officer, when it really matters, how do you give a loud verbal command?
In an authoritative and clear voice.
You would have said, "Let me see your hands! Let me see your hands!" Right?
It would be a loud voice,
That's
yes.
right. Not like you showed them earlier today. You would have been almost screaming that at them, wouldn't you?
I didn't scream it.
All right. But you're saying that that happened at the threshold of the door with the door open, right?
Yes, sir.
So you're actually partially in the hallway.
Yes, I guess you can say that.
I mean, you're not fully in the apartment and you're not fully in the hallway. You're right in the middle, right?
Yes, sir.
You understand that neighbors say that they can, all the neighbors that testified along that hall who are closest to Mr. Jean,
Yes.
the people that live, I mean, the ones that we call as witnesses are the ones who live across from him, next door to him, the closest as we could find possible of 300 people that live there, right?
Yes, sir.
Not one of them heard you say that.
I can't tell you why.
Well, it's because you didn't say it.
Not true, sir.
I want to talk to you now about the decision before you actually went in. So, again, I want to go over what you told Mr. Shook, okay? You said, and I'm going to use this again as the door to 1478, all right? You said it was slightly ajar and that you noticed that, right?
Yes, sir. I have.
And you said that you put the key in with your right hand. You noticed the red light blinking, didn't you?
No, I did not.
Okay. But when you did that, the door, even though it's weighted and it's going to close on its own, pushed open a little bit, didn't you?
The force of me putting the key in opened it.
Okay, so that force, but you said that just from that small amount of force that you put just to put the key in and the door opening a little bit, you could hear movement inside, like shuffling or moving around.
Yes.
Okay. And then you said you made the decision at that point, from that perspective, I wanted, as the door began to open, I was wanting to find the threat.
Yes, there was someone in my apartment.
Right. And you knew that before this door had been fully opened. You wanted to find the threat and fully open that door, and that's when you saw Mr. Jean.
No,
True?
sir. No, sir. It happened so quickly.
You said, I put the key in, and I hear moving around. As the door began to open, I wanted to find the threat. As the door was opened fully, that's when you saw the silhouette.
Yes, sir.
So you knew from outside that door, with the protection of that door between you, that there was something inside that was making noise.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So here were your options then. Your options were, at this point, to go in and find the threat, or your option would have been, I'm going to back off, I'm going to take a position of cover and concealment, and I'm going to get some help out here. Those are options, right?
They are.
Okay. But you chose option A, which was, I'm going in to find the threat.
That
True?
was the only option that went through my head. I was at home, and
Ma'am, will you answer my questions?
Yes, sir.
You chose to go in and find the threat, even though you were in a position to have taken cover and concealment, right?
No, sir.
Your training, which you've told this jury several times now, that you revert to. You've told them that, right?
Yes, I have.
You rely on that training, is what you've said.
Yes, I do.
That's why you pull the gun when you pull the gun, right?
Yes, sir.
That's why you keep your right hand empty.
Yes, sir.
That's why you backed your truck in, correct?
Yes, sir.
Because that's what police do, right?
Yes, sir.
But you're telling me at the most critical moment of the entire thing, your training just abandoned you.
No, sir.
No. Because your training says that when you're at this point here, for officer safety, to maximize your safety, do not go inside that apartment.
On a call.
Ma'am, your general orders indicate that you are on duty 24/7.
They do.
And you know that that training is designed for your safety, first and foremost.
Yes, sir.
And that's not only what your orders are, that's how you guys are trained.
Yes, sir.
So for your safety, you should have taken a position of cover and concealment and got help. And instead you decided to go in.
Yes, I did go in.
You had a police radio on you, didn't you?
I did.
Did it work?
It did.
You live 2 blocks away from police headquarters.
Yes, sir.
You know that when you call out as a police officer, the number one thing for every other police officer is to come and help you if you say that you need help.
Yes, sir.
You know that the response time on this call was about 2 minutes and bodies were at the apartment.
Yes, sir.
So you could have taken a position of cover and concealment. You could have called for help on your radio, and you could have had the cavalry there in 2 minutes.
I could have.
You could have had SWAT mobilized.
They could have.
You could have had K-9 mobilized.
They could have also.
Right. And had you done any one of those things, Mr. Jean will probably be alive today. Right?
Yes, sir.
Nevertheless, you wanted to go in and find the threat. And that's exactly what you did, right?
I did that.
And even after you opened the door, even though you had all those options before the door was fully open, even after that door was opened, you've told the jury 30 feet away, you're seeing Mr. Jean at the furthest back point of his apartment doing some sort of a side-to-side motion.
And
Right?
I saw a silhouette.
And ask it again. From the door, you've testified that you could see Mr. Jean doing a side-to-side motion.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then you've testified on this cross-examination that you watched that for, I think you said 2 or 3 seconds.
Yes, it was. I think it was.
Okay? I'm not going to hold you to that, approximately 2 to 3 seconds. Right?
Yes, sir.
In that 2 to 3 seconds, let's just watch it. 1, 2, 3. In that 2 to 3 seconds, you could have done that too, couldn't you have?
I
You
could
could have done that as well, couldn't you have?
do what?
You could have backed away and let that door shut on its own.
I could have.
You could have done that.
Yes, sir.
You chose not to do that.
No, sir.
Instead, you chose to pull your gun, to level it off and shoot at Mr. Jean.
I did do
That
that.
was your choice.
It was my choice.
Even though you could have backed off at least twice now to a position where you would have been more safe and he would have been alive.
I could have.
So you indicated, Ms. Guyger, that your conversation with Mr. Rivera that particular evening was innocuous, of no consequence, it was just banter.
Yes, sir.
You indicated that, in fact, you didn't pull over once you entered your parking garage, that you drove up and parked in that space where we see your pickup truck on the 4th floor.
I did not pull over.
Let me just ask the question again because I just want to make sure I understand it. Are you telling this jury that when you entered the parking garage, you drove all the way from the gate up to the 4th floor, backed in just as we see your pickup truck?
I did.
Okay, without making any kind of stops in between?
No.
You understand, you've seen from video records of the Southside Flats, ma'am, that your truck enters at approximately 9:46, right?
Yes, sir.
That is your truck.
Yes, sir.
And then you heard the testimony of Mr. Jones, the coach and the chemistry teacher, who came in here and swore and talked to this jury, right?
Yes, sir.
So he entered at about 9:53, 9:54, which is going to be 7 to 8 minutes after you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and his testimony was that he drove around up to the 4th floor and he parked sometime around 9:54 p.m. Couldn't have been any earlier because that's when he drove in. And that he parked and that he saw you coming around the corner driving in such a way that made him take notice of your white truck.
I heard him say that.
So you believe that to be a lie?
I don't think I drove that fast that night.
Okay, but you understand that if he saw you do that, unless he's lying to this jury for some reason, then you couldn't have already been there like you testified to.
I couldn't answer that, sir.
I mean, his testimony was pretty clear that you stood up, especially after you got out of the truck, because you're a police officer.
I did back up into my truck and stay on the phone.
All right, but you're gonna stick with that, that you did not pull over.
I do not ever remember pulling over.
You said that another thing in this conversation that you were having, Mr. Rivera, because it was a rather long one, right? 16 minutes and 44 seconds. That was a pretty good conversation.
Yes, it was.
Y'all were talking about, the arrest that had happened that he was part of, but the part, I guess, after he had left is what you all were talking about for that period of time?
Yes, sir.
You said that another subject of conversation was about the Boy Scout meeting that he had to attend, right?
Yes, sir.
But y'all had already talked about that over text, so why would you have been talking about that again?
Texting's texting, but you can get more through talking.
If this was just innocent banter, Ms. Guyger, if this was just flirtatious back and forth, then why does Mr. Rivera, Officer Rivera, check in with you twice, saying something like, "Are you still there?" Why would he do that if there wasn't some plan for later that evening?
I couldn't answer that.
Okay, well, maybe you can answer this then. If there was no plan for later that evening, why would you have the need to tell Officer Rivera that you were just leaving?
I don't know. It's how I just texted him I was leaving, but
Why? Why would you do that unless you were letting him know, okay, I'm done work now?
it's what I did that night. I can't tell you what reasoning it was a year ago.
Unless you were planning on coordinating schedules, why would it have even crossed your mind to let him know that you were leaving?
I don't know. I just texted him I was leaving.
And it's just a coincidence that within a couple of minutes of you sending him a text letting him know that you're leaving, you also sent him a Snapchat image, which we don't have, with the text phrase, "want to touch."
I did do that.
So that's just a coincidence.
It's what happened that night.
What was that image?
I couldn't tell you.
Was it an image of you or something else?
I honestly could not tell you.
I'd like to talk a little bit about that too, because you indicated to this jury that it was because of some morality on your part that you discontinued the sexual relationship with Mr. Rivera.
Yes.
And that has to do with the fact that he's married and has kids. This was bothering you, right?
Yes, it was.
But your morality doesn't seem to be affected at all by sending him naked pictures of you, right?
No, I did do that.
You did that a lot.
I did.
And he would sometimes tell you in the kind of poses he wanted you to send, right?
Yes, he did.
And you would send him those pictures, right?
Yes, he did.
And it was back and forth. You would tell him to send you pictures of his anatomy.
I did.
And y'all had special words for his anatomy too, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah. And you would repeatedly ask him to send those pictures to you, even up to and including that particular night.
I did.
So your morality, your moral code, I guess out of respect to Mr. Rivera's wife and his kids, puts sex off limits, but anything else is fair game.
I did do that.
All right, so it's your testimony then that even though there was no intent for you and Mr. Rivera to meet up that night, you were nevertheless not going to just go home and crash. You were going to go work out.
It's a normal habit. I was.
Again, was it your plan to go home and work out?
Yes, it was.
So your plan was after your shift, you were going to go home. I guess you were going to change, and then where is it that you work out?
At the 24-hour fitness.
And is that within walking distance, or is that a good drive away?
It's a drive. It's downtown Dallas.
Okay. So your plans were you were going to go home, you were going to go to your apartment, you were going to get changed, you're then going to leave your apartment, you were going to go back to your truck, you were going to get in your truck, drive to the gym, and have a workout.
I was.
That was the game plan.
Yes, sir.
So whatever this thing about you being sleepy, it wasn't such that you were incapacitated physically, right?
No, I wasn't completely drained. I just wanted to go work out.
I mean, you wouldn't have been driving on the streets of Dallas if you were going to be running over like pedestrians or hurting people, right?
No, sir.
So you had your wits about you, right?
I was still awake.
You were talking earlier also. Let me see that email we have. So they were doing moisture testing that week at your apartment, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you received an email from the staff at the apartment complex. And I think your testimony was that you guys were made aware that they were going to be doing certain testing, and then you testified that it was going to be like between the hours of, what did you say, 8 to 4, 8 to 5?
8 to 4, around there.
Or 8 to 5. So you can remember that there was a specific time given, right?
Yes.
Can I approach this witness, Judge?
Yes.
I'm showing Mr. Mark for identification as State's Exhibit number 319. Can you read the portion down here and tell me if this is the email that you received indicating what was going to be happening the week of September 4th through September 7th?
Yes, it is.
Okay? And I'm going to let you read. Did you read it all the way to there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And the second page.
Yes, I did.
Okay, so this is going to be an email that looks like it was sent out to all of the residents by name, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. There's no time in there, is there?
It's an all-day event to me as like normal working hours.
Well, but that's not what you told the jury. You told the jury a specific set of hours. You understand your credibility is absolutely critical.
Judge, we're legit to the sidewalk.
Sustained.
Do you understand that your credibility is vitally important in this case?
Yes, sir, I do.
Do you agree that there is absolutely nothing in this email that says it's going to be conducted between any specific set of hours?
There's not.
You've lived in an apartment before, is that right?
I have.
As have I. And in apartments, maintenance happens, correct?
Yes, it does.
Emergencies happen, right?
They do.
And in your lease, I'm sure you know, and you tell me if you don't, that they can send in folks, like if you have a pipe that bursts or if there's an electrical fire. There may be an occasion, day or night, where someone may have to go into your home.
Yes, that's true.
That you know this, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And did that reality factor in to your decision at all? Did you even let that get, in your thought process that there might be somebody who is legitimately inside there before you shot?
No, sir.
But yet you knew that too. You knew that could be a possibility.
What would be a possibility?
There may be a legitimate maintenance issue. You just don't know.
Okay.
Did you even think about that?
Not that late at night.
Okay. You also, in your testimony with Mr. Shook, indicated that you were concerned about some of the crime, because you do a lot of background research, right?
Yes, sir.
And you had been concerned about some of the stuff that was going on at the Southside Flats, right?
Yes, sir.
That would be an additional reason, though, for you to be even more vigilant and observant, correct?
You could say that.
I mean, Ms. Guyger, are you aware that you've got over 3,250 training hours?
Yes, sir.
You are not like a regular citizen like me. You've got thousands of hours of police training, right?
Yes, sir.
Your job requires you to be observant and aware of your situation, right?
It does.
And as a matter of fact, your job with CRT, the interview position, the only reason why you could be there is because you showed an acumen and a skill for things like observation and situational awareness,
Yes, sir.
right?
Yes, sir.
When you were talking with Mr. Shook on direct examination, you had indicated, that this place here caused you some concern because of all of the bad stuff that was going on, right?
I did.
Do you remember having a conversation, do you know a person by the name of Chamberlain?
Yes, sir.
All right, do you remember having a conversation with Chamberlain by text on August the 21st of 2018, where he asked you, how do you like your new place?
I do not remember that,
May I
sir.
approach the witness?
Yes.
Ms. Guyger, would you take a look at this text exchange and tell me if this helps refresh your recollection with Mr. Chamberlain?
I don't remember ever sending it, but I did. Obviously, I did send it.
Okay. And when asked about how you felt about the Southside Flats, your response to him, again on August the 21st, was, I'm liking it, right?
I did.
And then you said, few homeless here and there, and a lot of hippies smoking weed.
Yes, I did send that.
All right. You didn't say anything in there about the rank crime and all this other stuff that has caused you to be so concerned, right?
I did not.
And Chamberlain, he's a police officer, isn't he?
She is.
She is, I apologize. She's a police officer, right?
Yes, sir.
So to a fellow officer, you're not gonna hold back, is that right?
I mean, I can't say I would or wouldn't.
Well, that's what you said, though.
I did say that.
Some people smoking weed, but you're liking it.
It's what I said in that message.
But today, in front of this jury, it sounds like all kinds of mayhem is going on.
Yes, sir.
You remember when you were testifying on direct with Mr. Shook, on a couple of occasions, you indicated that you wanted to become a police officer because you wanted to help people.
Yes, sir.
And then a second time, you took the opportunity to tell Mr. Shook that becoming a police officer was important because you could help people, right?
Yes.
Do you recall working the MLK parade on January the 15th, 2018?
Yes, sir.
With you outside of apartment 1478, is that right?
Yes, sir.
You see that bright red floor mat there?
Yes, sir.
You don't have a floor mat in front of your apartment, do you?
I do not.
Would you agree with me that there is no other bright red round floor mat
It does.
anywhere on the third floor or the fourth floor, as best you can recall?
Doesn't appear that way.
And you see these doors right here and this wall column right there?
I do.
That's exactly the same as it is for your apartment, right? You know that they're there.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And that would have been a perfect place for you to take cover and concealment, stepping back just a couple of feet from that door, had you chosen to do that.
It could have.
Let's just see, I think that I want to just ask you a couple of questions about the charge. You don't have any dispute that everything that we've talked about today occurred on September the 6th, 2018, right?
It did occur.
On September the 6th, 2018?
Yes, sir.
And that this entire event happened in Dallas County, Texas.
It did happen in
You are
Dallas.
Amber Guyger,
I am Amber Guyger.
victim in this case, the complainant in this case is Botham Shenzhen, right?
Yes, he is.
And you shot and killed Mr. Jean with your gun.
I did. I
Right.
did. I did.
And that your gun is a firearm, is that right?
Yes, it is.
And you've already testified previous to now that it was your intent to do exactly that.
Yes, it was.
You attended de-escalation training, haven't you?
Yes, sir, I have.
Matter of fact, you attended de-escalation training in April, just a few months before this particular event, didn't you?
I don't remember when the last time I did.
So I'm going to show you, or do you believe me?
You can show me.
That's you.
Yes, sir.
Did you turn the mic off? Did you turn the mics off?
Sorry. Does that refresh your recollection of when you took de-escalation?
Yes, sir.
What was the date?
4/25 of 2018.
How many hours was that class?
8 hours.
That was important to you, wasn't it?
Yes, sir.
You understand that policing as a whole is trying to adopt more of a de-escalation approach when circumstances permit, right?
It does.
And in that particular case, in that particular class, did you pay attention?
I don't remember everything they went over in that class.
Do you recall them emphasizing to you, take advantage of time, to buy time so that additional resources can be obtained for your safety and for the safety of the people that you're dealing with?
I don't remember hearing that then.
All right. You recall that class, the criteria about anything turning assumptions into facts?
I do not.
Well, tell me what it is. I'll tell you what, instead of me telling you to go through the curriculum, what did you get from that class?
I don't remember what was said. It's been a while since I've taken that class.
But you're supposed to attend these classes and then take from them tools and tips that you can take out into the community so that you can be a better police officer, right?
Yes, sir. But
And you understand de-escalation is vitally important, especially to major segments of our community.
I do, sir.
So what did you take from that class?
I can't remember back then. It's been over a year.
Did you change any of the way in which you did business before, after
No.
taking that class?
No, I could still, I think then it would be easier to remember, not now.
On September the 6th, 2018, Ms. Guyger, were you in good health?
Yeah, would say so. Yes, sir.
Okay, you worked out, you kept yourself in good physical shape, is that fair to say?
Yes, sir.
You weren't feeling ill that particular day?
Just normal.
All right. Your vision, you have good vision, don't you?
Yes, sir.
You had the LASIK procedure done, didn't you?
I did.
And that actually made your eyes, was it better than 20/20?
I don't know what it is.
Okay. But you got no vision issues.
No, I don't think so.
Your hearing is good?
Yes, sir.
Your ability to smell okay?
Yes, sir.
You had lived in Southside Flats for a little less than 2 months when the shooting happened, right?
Yes, sir.
And you testified on direct that the way that you came into your apartment every day was going down that main hallway by the elevator, correct?
Yes, sir.
So every single day for 2 months, probably at least twice a day, you would walk past that decorative urn that Miss Lee had out in front of her apartment, right?
I mean, there's probably something there, but I never paid attention to anything that they had on their doormats.
Again, you're a 5-year veteran police officer who has a necessary and critical aspect of which is observational skills and situational awareness, and you're telling me that you have never once noticed.
I probably noticed it, but I didn't ever, it was just there. It was something that was probably commonly there, but you never stared at it for a long period of time.
You also know where the apartment numbers are on the signs next to the door, right?
In the top left.
Right. I mean, it's not like you're a first-time person coming in. You know, and you knew on September the 6th, 2018, exactly where apartment numbers are located on the signpost?
Yes, sir.
All right. Ms. Guyger, you see, I'm going through the backpack that you had on September the 6th. Is that accurate?
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, are the contents of this backpack as they exist in this courtroom right now going to be the contents that existed on September the 6th, 2018?
Yes, sir.
So inside your backpack, which you took all the way into apartment 1478, right?
Yes, sir.
And do you recall that this backpack and your heavy vest and your lunch pail was put down next to Mr. Jean?
Yes, sir.
So you had this right within arm's reach in that 5 minutes of time when you could have been giving him your full attention.
Yes, sir.
Inside this backpack, you've got something called combat gauze, right?
Yes, yes, sir.
This is for treating a person who has been injured, isn't that correct?
Yes, sir.
And it says on there, for temporary external use to control traumatic bleeding.
Yes, sir.
Would you agree that Mr. Jean was bleeding horribly from the gunshot wound that you put into his chest?
I don't recall much blood, sir.
You were able to tell the responding officers exactly where the bullet wound is. How would
Yes,
you have
sir.
known that had you not looked?
What do you mean? Like, I knew he was shot somewhere.
You told them exactly where he was shot.
Top left.
Right. How would you have known that if you hadn't have looked to where he had been shot?
I knew where he was shot.
How? From the time that you shot him?
No, when I turned on the lights.
Okay. So did you look at the bullet wound?
Yes, I did.
Okay. So you knew he was injured with a bullet, right?
Yes, I did.
And a person bleeds when they're injured with a bullet, correct?
Yes, they do.
Is there a reason why you didn't use this stuff right here, which is designed to control traumatic bleeding?
It never crossed my mind.
It didn't even cross your mind?
No, sir.
Even though he's bleeding in front of you,
No,
and this is inches from you,
it did not cross my
it never
mind.
crossed your mind to use this?
No, sir.
This is the first aid kit that's also included in there, right?
Yes, sir.
And you've got more of that exact same stuff in here. Hemostat gauze dressing for bleeding control.
Yes, sir.
That's also unopened, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So, other than, I'm trying to understand this, other than with just one hand periodically with interruptions doing some compressions, did you really do anything else to try and help Mr. Jean?
The sternum rub.
Thank you for your time, Ms. Guyger.
Thank you, sir.
Pass the witness.
Amber, when you were walking in,
Go ahead.
when you were walking down that hall, on your way to the apartment, what was your state of mind? What were you feeling?
Sorry, hold on. I was calm. I was relaxed.
Were you paying attention to mats and things or doors, anything like that?
I was just going home, so all I wanted to do was go home.
Mr. Ernest asked you questions about burglary calls, taking cover, asking for backup, asking for K-9. Did you feel in any way this was a burglary call you were responding to?
No, I was responding to my own home.
What were you thinking when that door began to open when you put the fob?
I was at my apartment.
When you heard rustling inside as that door opened, did you stop and wait outside and think about what you were hearing?
No, I went in
How quickly was that happening?
seconds.
What was your thought when you thought you were going in your home and the door open?
And somebody was inside.
Were you thinking as a policeman answering the burglary
No.
call at all?
I was thinking I was relaxed right before, and all of a sudden I come home, and then there's somebody inside my apartment. My heart rate just shot up.
All these other things Mr. Hermes asked you about calling for backup or retreating to cover, any of that in your mind when you were face to face with this person you saw in the back?
No, it didn't have to. I was going home. It wasn't a call.
Mr. Hermes said, had you estimate times? Did you have a stopwatch at all? Were you timing any of this, or what was happening?
No, sir. It was just happening quick. It was quick. That's all I can say. It was seconds.
And when you saw this figure, this person advancing toward you, let me show you stage 100. We see this counter, this area here, correct?
Yes, sir.
Where was this person when you made the decision to shoot?
Right in front of the armrest of the couch, but in front of the counter still.
Somewhere in this area?
Yes, sir.
And when you made that decision to fire in this area, how many feet, I've measured this off and I've talked about it, 12, 13, 14, 15 feet,
12, 15 feet.
the area I'm in now,
Yes, sir. From where I was standing.
that was the distance between you and him.
Yes, sir.
You talked on direct, Mr. Hermes asked you questions about the tone of voice you said when you said, let me show your hands. Let me see your hands.
Yes, sir, I did.
The volume that you used when we demonstrated, is that the volume you used?
That he used?
That you used?
Yes, sir. It was clear and precise.
You've heard the state's allegation that you're just lying about that you said nothing.
I did. But I know I said I know what I did and what I said that night. And I did say, let me see your hands, let me see your hands.
Was he sitting on the couch at all?
No, never saw him sitting on the couch.
Was he moving? Was he just standing? What was he doing when you fired the shot?
He was just moving, advanced towards me whenever I shot the first two shots where he ended up falling down.
And why did you shoot?
Because I was scared that he was going to come at me and kill me.
That was your reason?
Yes, sir. I was scared, and I thought he was advancing towards me, or he had a weapon.
And then when you found out you'd shot an innocent man, what did you think?
Everything changed.
Judge, I'm going to object. This is cumulative.
You started realizing that when you were calling 911?
Yes, sir.
The state of mind of what we hear in your voice and what you're saying, is that what was going?
It-
Sorry. I object to the leading of the question, sir.
Please don't lead to this.
Can you describe your state of mind as you were on that 911?
My mind was racing. I didn't know where I was at. I had this guy laying on the floor. I wanted paramedics. It was so much processing through my mind. I would never want anybody to ever have to go through or even imagine going through what I felt that night. Just you can't think you forget so much now.
Did you in any way think you were having to give your full story as you're on the 911 with the 911 operator?
No, I just wanted someone help. I just wanted someone there as quickly as they could get there.
Why did you leave to go find those officers?
Because I could hear them, but it just felt like they were taking forever. And I just wanted to go out there and just let them know where I was at instead of searching for me.
Why did you want their help?
To get Mr. John to the hospital.
I'll pass it away.
Ms. Guyger, did you?
Hold on. Before we resume your cross-examination, we're going to take our lunch break. We'll start back again at 10 minutes after 1.
All right. For purposes of the record, there were a number of sidebar conferences at the bench where the state was asking permission based on the court's pretrial rulings and orders. The state wanted to examine Ms. Guyger on a couple of text exchanges that she had because of the representation through the direct
Oh,
examination.
you all may be seated. I'm sorry.
So the representation to the jury through the direct examination was that Amber Guyger, the defendant, wanted to be a police officer because they help people, and she later offered, I believe on her own, that as a police officer she could help people. There were two text messages that I think that are directly relevant to discrediting that representation. I've marked them for purposes of this hearing as States Exhibit 317 and 320. The court knows what they say, so I see no reason why I should speak them out loud, but I'd like them to be part of the record.
Let me get this right. You said 317
Yes, ma'am.
and 320,
Yes, ma'am.
and it's 317 the email cable.
Yes, ma'am. And then the 320 is the one concerning the...
I remember.
Okay. The state would request permission to clear up that representation in front of the jury. I think that these show a completely different state of mind of the defendant and what she thinks that police and the citizens, how they should be.
And as I stated here at sidebar, I was not going to allow that. While we're at lunch break, I'll do some more research, but I think that that is entirely, the prejudicial value outweighs the probative value of what State 317 and 320 might add to the ultimate questions that the jury will have to decide.
I understand, Your Honor.
We'll see you all at 10 after 1.